Why does the empire have a religion?
Let me pull up this story that is directly related to what Ian is talking about.
Yes.
Timcast.com reports Boston police launch hate crime investigation after teenagers attack white woman with braids. The attack is the latest in a series of crimes committed by juveniles in the city's District A1. And I would also add, this has nothing to do with what Ian was talking about.
Yeah, but you're right on
Great
the money.
segue. Awesome. Killed it.
I was like, can I do the worst possible segue possible?
I loved it.
I thought this story was interesting because we've been seeing an increase in crime. We've also been seeing wokeness going crazy. So when there was a report that they're like, it's racially motivated because the woman was white and she had braids, these guys basically attacked her because she was culturally appropriating braids. And the city's saying it's a hate crime.
Is that what it's... Can you read that bit?
So they said the Boston police are investigating a possible racially motivated crime after a group of teenagers attacked a woman in the city's downtown. The headline is a white woman with braids.
But was it because she had braids?
That's the initial reporting I saw. It said police noted in the report the woman was in distress and highly animated. Oh, here we go. The girls allegedly punched and kicked the woman and pulled her by the hair because she was... here we go. One of the victims said a group of girls called her a white expletive with braids who should not wear her hair in that style because she was not black before assaulting her. The girls allegedly punched and kicked the woman and pulled her by her hair.
Okay, so if this never actually happened and instead a leftist invented a story of this happening to a black person, like completely fabricated a hate crime like this, it would be in the national news cycle for days and days.
Yeah.
They're not going to talk about this.
I always like pointing out that Bill Maher, a week after Covington was debunked, still maintained the lie. Because the dude just doesn't know how to Google stuff.
I get nervous about the term hate crime. It seems like it's too subjective.
I like that it's finally being used both ways, though. Like, there was just a Calgary police tweet where it was just some graffiti that said, like, F white people shouldn't exist anymore. And they're, like, investigating a hate crime. And people were seething, molding in the comments. And I was like, well, you know what? This is where we're at. It should be fair. If they're going to investigate it one way, they have to do it the other.
But that is giving in to ridiculous laws.
If they make
I think we should have equality. If you attack someone, you attack them. If it's just like, well, we think you did it for a specific reason related to like how they looked, now you get worse punishment. I'm like, no, dude, assault is assault, battery is battery. Motivations, it's weird in my opinion. I don't like hate crime laws.
I remember that New York subway attack like a few weeks ago where the guy shot like 26 people or something. No one died.
10 people, I think.
10 people. Okay.
Terrible.
They were like, we're investigating this. This is not, but we believe it is not an act of terrorism. I'm like, what? The guy terrorized everyone on the train. That's terror. I don't care. Use the word or don't, but it's like that they're using that word like hate crime, terror attack to make it more dangerous. But it's like, how do you know?
What's crazy is every headline would be like, oh, if it were the other way around, like a white guy who shot up the place, they'd be like, if this were a brown man, they'd call it a terror attack. Like,
that's so true. That's
every
so true.
time.
Yeah, they're very reluctant to apply that label to anyone who isn't white, basically.
I don't like it. The terror attack thing is new, 20 years new. I don't like it.
Well, I mean, it's terrorism, right? If I understand properly,
So
the
is George
actual
Washington.
technical definition of terrorism is you're trying to use fear to get people to comply with your political motives.
But it's
This
so
guy-
subjective.
This guy
Violence.
had posted a bunch of black nationalist stuff.
Yep.
Like
When the Antifa, remember the Antifa guy who had the 9mm with the drum, and it was like in Ohio or whatever. Do you guys remember that? They said that it wasn't politically motivated. They said it wasn't leftist violence, and I'm like, dude, I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
If a dude's posting crazy Antifa stuff and then goes and shoots people up, my only assumption is this is his driving motivation.
Yeah.
The worldview he lives in. Now, was the reason he pulled the trigger was to enact communism? I don't know. He was a far left extremist who engaged in activism.
Yeah, he definitely intentionally set it up and did it.
Well,
Okay, sorry, I was thinking about that. You can literally be a terrorist as long as you're on the left, though, and they just won't mention it. Do you know Dr. Tedros, the head of the World Health Organization? I just found out last week he was literally a member of a banned terror organization.
What?
Yeah, the Tigray People's Liberation Army. Look it up right now. Dr. Tedros, he's the guy who we got all our updates from the World Health Organization on
group called?
COVID. People's Liberation Army. Go to his Wikipedia and look at early life, and it just says that oh, he was a part of this little group, the Tigray rebels. And then if you click
He
on the
denies
group name,
supporting
no,
Tigray.
he was literally a part of their political party for years. He was even been accused of supplying arms. They killed a bunch of people. They were a banned party in Ethiopia for terrorism.
Tedros was a member of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the leading group in a coalition of movements known as the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front, in a successful bid to overthrow Mengistu Haile Mariam.
Now click on Tigray People's Liberation Front. Notice how they don't mention in that sentence at all that it's a terror organization.
Oh, no, it's an ethnic nationalist
Yep.
organization, paramilitary group, and banned political party.
moly.
Can you imagine if any of us were a part of that, what our Wikipedia page would look like? It sure as hell wouldn't be a single sentence not mentioning ethnic nationalist, terrorist, or banned, but they just, it's
Well, I mean, they included
he's the head of the World Health Organization. That's insane.
That is.
I think
that
about
is unbelievable.
forgiveness and like
Well, it's not unbelievable.
when
to
someone's
be honest, but-
radicalized. Who was it we had on the show? When someone's radicalized when they're young and they're in terror organizations.
Oh, Majid.
He was
Yeah,
as
it's probably
young.
Majid.
Majid Nawaz was
Oh, yeah.
like for like 10 or 12 years. He was like a hardcore, basically doing what this guy was doing, and then snapped out of it and was like, and basically now he's talking about de-radicalization and stuff. He's talks a lot about the Azov in Ukraine and how if we're funding that, we're funding a radical ethnic, cleansive group. So maybe, I don't want to like this guy. I'm not a big fan of the World Health Organization, but I'm not. Just because he was in an organization when he was younger doesn't mean that
He
he's a bad
wasn't
person.
younger. He was like a politician, a part of this group, like an adult. And the point isn't even like about him personally. It's the fact that this isn't mentioned anywhere.
Yeah.
That he can become the head of the World Health Organization with no fuss about the fact that he was part of a terror
Oh yeah,
organization.
Majid Nawaz talks openly about his experiences. If he was hiding it, that'd be a completely different story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. No, it's insane.
Don't put the
And
camera on me. I'm eating
well,
maraschino
I mean,
cherries.
well,
No, try to drink your drink. Sorry.
yeah. I mean,
No, I'm eating maraschino cherries.
Of course. Yeah, drink your drink.
What were you gonna say, Seamus?
well, I was going to mention something earlier, but
Seamus
now
wants to
this
talk
is just
about the IRA.
I would
good.
exactly. Hold on.
I do too.
I knew someone was going to go there. I don't know what I'm doing to invite this kind of
What's
hate
that?
in.
What's that orange?
It's nothing.
on-
It's nothing.
Yeah, what is that? I only see.
So
green.
anyway, no, I mean, of course, this guy's Facebook page, as you mentioned, or his social media accounts were filled with a bunch of left-wing rhetoric, and their argument is, they don't even really make an argument about it. They just don't say anything, but that's ridiculous. I mean, if somebody committed a massacre and their social media was full of them posting things like, the goblins watch me and like the voices tell me to shoot people, we wouldn't assume that that was unrelated to them going out and hurting people. And yet when someone's posting like incendiary, insane left-wing rhetoric, that's just not even a potential motivation for why they would go out and kill people once they do.
Look, I can't speak for right-wing channels. I don't know. But when you have these prominent left-wing podcasts just outright lie about all of this stuff, they'll be like, you'll mention this, and they'll be like, no, he isn't. You'll be like, he's a member of this group. No, he's not. And you're like, I'm reading about it right now. Like, no, you're not. Like the Taylor Lorenz thing is just,
Yeah.
hey, they linked to her private address. No, they didn't. Yeah, they did. It's not her home. Okay, well, it is, but it's also her work. I guess it's her work address. If that's your argument, no, they didn't.
No,
It's
they
been
don't.
debunked, Tim.
They don't do that. It's
It's just like, what's the point of even trying to
So
talk to these
annoying.
people? I'm just going to say right now. I've said it before. I'll say it again. What's the point of negotiating with someone who will look at, like, they'll look at this bottle. I'll say, I have a glass bottle. And they'll go, no, you don't. Like, I'm literally holding a glass bottle. No, you're not. Okay. Well, if we can't agree on something I'm literally doing, then I don't know what's the point of talking.
only to measure emotions, to like tone them down or tone down yourself. Only to listen to their feelings. It's most about feelings with the people like that.
Now, it says that Tedros was a member of this group, but what does it say about Lauren Southern?
Okay, let's not read my. We don't read my Wikipedia page, okay, Tim?
This is good.
Should I read it?
Sure.
Lauren Southern is 26.
Wow.
Ancient.
Way too young.
The 90s.
A Canadian alt-right YouTuber.
What does that even mean, alt-right?
I mean,
Whoa!
it was used to
Let me
mean
click.
Did they take out
nationalist.
white
Alternative?
nationalist? They took out white nationalists since our last episode.
Congratulations. Look what happens when you highlight alt-right.
It doesn't matter. How nice. How lovely.
man.
Wow.
That's why-
Wikipedia is a joke.
Yeah.
But
Wait, what does it say about South Africa up there? Something about
which one? This one?
She has been described as an advocate of white genocide conspiracy theory for her documentary Farmlands. You know what? The conclusion of Farmlands is that there isn't a white genocide, but that we're approaching steps where we have rhetoric in government saying we need to kill white people, which I think pretty fair, right? If government elected officials are saying we need to kill Boer, that's steps
They were
towards
singing it.
genocide.
They
Yeah.
have a song.
So like they say I promote the conspiracy theory, which I don't, but whatever, you know.
I've heard a lot about it. This is the farm attacks where white farmers were getting attacked in South Africa because they thought you're colonialists and we kind of thing.
Yeah, there's like massive groups, the EFF, Black Land First, that literally just advocate killing and taking the land from the Boer. They have songs about it that they've sung, like full-on hate speech, farmers just getting murdered on their property for the crime of being white and owning land. Like, it's horrendous. And, you know, racism is a problem all around in that country amongst all groups, like different ethnic groups, like within just the African context, tribal groups are super racist against each other. That's like very much a norm there, unfortunately. But like, to not acknowledge that it's happening in a political context is wild to me, especially in the West. It's so obvious and out there too. 1 second of Google, but I guess as you mentioned, Tim, these people don't understand how Google works, I guess. They don't have access to their own computers.
Or they just lie.
I have a slightly off-topic statement I'd like to make. Seamus, you said earlier that you're from Ireland, or your family
No, I'm
was
not.
from Ireland?
I'm not.
No,
This
I'm
is the
joking.
thing. Why are you doing this
My
to me?
question-
People are gonna like start calling me a poser. I never claimed this.
My question is, it sounds like Ireland is
Irish
how you would say
accent.
the word island with an Irish accent.
Ireland. Oh, it's an
I'm on
Ireland
the
over there.
island.
Oh, it's interesting.
Is that real?
I don't know.
Oh, that was my question.
I don't think
people
so.
from the
Let me
island.
look
It
up the
sounds like
etymology.
an
I
old
got a
Irish.
test here. Come out, che black and tans. Come out and fight. No, you're not
Fight me
gonna-
like a man.
Yeah, there we go. He's a
Yeah.
terrorist.
You're from
Yeah,
Chicago.
that's-
No, I just know Irish songs.
I
Think
love
you're
Ireland.
terrorist, Lauren? What the heck?
Yeah.
Rude.
What are you doing? This is unbelievable.
How do you
The
know that
slander.
song, Lauren?
I want to let everyone know that I was just smeared by white nationalist Lauren Southern for my
Oh
ethnic
my
identity.
gosh.
Yeah, I watched it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like 6 feet away.
As a non-white man.
Definitely.
It's very offended.
Definitely the British were like, those are people on the island.
There was a meme recently released. They can track the data of on Google the most searched countries within countries in Europe, and it was showing like, oh, Ukraine is being the most searched country outside of people's own country in every country in Europe except one place, Ireland. And guess what their most searched country was?
British.
Never. Always watch your back.
That's
it
right.
was.
Wow.
Their most
Man.
searched country
Dude,
was
they are part of the
England.
British Empire. They're like under the boot of the British Empire, basically. And they
They're
don't
watching
want to
their
be.
back.
From what I can tell, a lot of them
Never
don't want to.
ease
So
up.
what is it? I mean, the IRA and the Irish, was it an attempted revolution that they wanted freedom from Britain and like half the country got it and the other half is still British?
I don't know.
So-
Lauren's the expert on this.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The I am by no means anyway an expert and know very little, but you know, Ireland was enslaved by the British for 800 years. Was it
Long
800?
time, yeah.
yeah, British colonists.
Yeah, and so they were like not happy with it.
Yeah,
but
pretty upset about it. Lots of Catholics killed. Lots of.
but
people
the
starved to death.
North was the Orange is like the Orange Order. I think that's something to do with the Dutch, doesn't it?
I thought
Something
it was
like that.
Protestant.
Yeah, that's
Protestant?
my understanding. Is that the Orange always represented the Protestants, the Brits.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Now, you know, I was there with you, wasn't I?
Yeah, when they were doing the burnings.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was really wild.
And the peace wall makes no sense.
Wait, you guys were
Like-
in Ireland together?
We were in Ireland.
No one invited me. That's cool. You know, it's
Well,
like
it was
Seamus is-
on
is-
that day
Humble
where
Humble.
they-
We'll,
what
we'll
is it
accuse him
called?
of being some kind of Irish terrorist on the podcast, but to actually go to Ireland now, he doesn't need to go.
Well, no, they were burning the Irish flag on these like giant pallets, like built insanely high.
Yeah, like
it's
40
like July the 7th or something. I can't remember, but it was like
Bonfire
a
Day or
Northern
Bonfire
Irish holiday where they just like burn effigies of British politicians.
But
British
the
politicians
peace
and
wall
stuff.
made no sense because like one side was like pro-Palestine and one side was pro-Israel, and you're like, what does that have to do with what's going on?
It's the foreign funding going into each side.
No, it's just tribalism.
Yeah,
It got to
yeah.
the point where this is what that one dude was telling us. He was like, if one side adopted a principle or idea, the other side would take the opposite just for the sake of taking the opposite.
Well, then, yeah, they had
I've
like
seen that happen.
Obama and Nelson Mandela on the Irish side of the wall, and then they had all this like right wing stuff on the Northern Irish side. It was really weird.
Does
I
that
remember that.
come from like trying not to hear people not to go to the other side? You're like, no, everything they're saying is wrong.
No, it's
Don't
like-
even
it's-
think about
it's-
it.
It's like right now,
Yeah.
when a leftist will say to me, Washington Post didn't dox anybody, and I'll be like, here's a link to them doing it. No, they didn't. It's like they just have to say that because they're in a cult.
They go, I know you are, but what am I? Like, wait, what?
And I'm like, dude,
Oh,
you're in
they
a cult.
doxed
I
this
got no
guy.
point talking to you. Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.